yung COVID, yung panahon ng pandemic. Yun po.
Thank you. That is a very dahil naunahin yung pitch na naging alarmado kayo. Nauna pa kayo sa DOH ng January. That's good.
Kasi pinaksa natin yung Bayanihan Act to Will as Act 1, March 24. Naunahan pa nila tayo na magbibigay tayo ng authorization or authority to the President to realign budgets and so forth and so on. And as early as January, na-foresee na nila na i-address na nila yung pandemic.
Obviously, this is an excuse, Mr. President, because your Secretary of Health, who is the president of, or is the chairman of Philhealth, did not do anything until mid-March.
Welcome to Philbrit Channel.
Ang tanong ko lang, anong basis ng Circular 0007 Series of 2020? Di ba yung board resolution ng para for this particular circular, which is 2515?
Mr. Senator, may I answer?
Sige.
As I mentioned earlier, the board approved on January 28, 2020, January 30, 2020, PBR number 2496, series of 2020. This includes IRM among the special privileges that may be adopted or conferred during 42 events and emergencies. There's a necessity to approve this PBR because in previous instances, when IRM was utilized for Yolanda, Marawi, etc., the board always issues a PBR for the release of IRM to specific calamity or fortuitous events. So the management requested on January 30, 2020, include the IRM among the special privileges to be conferred to healthcare providers to ensure that our members will continue to have health access to healthcare services. And so, when the IRM for COVID-19 was issued or implemented by management, despite the authority given under January 30 PBR 2.96, the management deemed it proper to submit to the board for ratification the use of IRM for COVID during COVID pandemic because of the magnitude of the amount, Mr. Chair. Mr. President.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President.
Yes. Kung tama yung sinasabi ninyo na covered na yun nung January resolution nyo, ba't inulit nyo pa ng March?
Mr. President.
After we have already used it as the legal basis.
Mr. President, Mr. Senator, as mentioned in our, as indicated, stated in the minutes of the meeting on March 31, it was because of the magnitude of the amount to be released that the management deemed it proper to seek ratification or confirmation by the board of the releases of the IRM. In fact, when it was presented on March 31, there were already releases made to government and private facilities.
Attorney, ang 1 peso at saka 1 billion, pareho rin yun eh. Yun ang pananaw ng mga kababayan natin eh. So hindi ganun kadali yun eh. Yung legal opinion na sinasabi ninyo, now, that you have presented to this committee before and you are now saying, and Attorney Dalusario also saying, ang tingin po namin tuloy, talaga, we can only surmise that there is really something wrong with this IRM or interim reimbursement mechanism. Kahit hindi po abogado ang tumingin, I am certain that the COVID-19 cannot be equated to Ondoy and Marawi siege, and other healthcare, there were actual losses experienced by the hospitals and other healthcare institutions due to the fortuitous events na sinatawag during the two instances. Kaya yung real sense of reimbursement, pwede talaga. However, the current implementation of your RM, advance payment for COVID-19 affected hospitals, is another thing. Yun po ang punto eh. Now, we agree that the intent of the IRM is notable, but it won't stop the Senate from casting doubt dahil dito sa mga nakikita natin yan. Now, with that, how did the board come up with the amount of 27 billion as the fund allotted or allocated for the IRM? Dr. Susie Magado.
Thank you, Mr. President. The board did not come up with that amount. I have here an email from the corporate secretary on March 20 that is informing us that Philhealth will be using the IRM mechanism and that 20 released to accredit the healthcare facilities. And the IRM was initially extended during Yolanda, Marawi, and Taal, and that the PCEO will seek ratification of the application of this measure. So this was on March 20. So in fact, Mr. President, we were not the ones who initiated this. We were informed that this was the decision.
In other words, it did not come from the board.
No, sir.
27 billion.
No, sir.
Isinubo sa inyo.
Yes,
Na
sir.
ganun daw yung gagamitin.
Yes, sir.
All right. And again, where did this come from?
Sir, this is an email coming from the corporate secretary on March 20. And then this was also followed,
Attorney Del Rosario's office.
no, from,
Attorney Mangawan.
yes.
Okay.
And then, sir, there was a March 27 memo, which is OPCO Memorandum 2020-0.
Pretty Diva 15 millimeters wide jaw opening oversized stainless steel toenail clipper cutter trimmer with
003, which was for the board, which stated that there was already this IRM mechanism.
The Vice Chair?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. In other words, what you're saying, Dr. Susi, is that walang authorization from the board yung March 20, 2020 issuance, yung IRM 2020-0007, walang authority from the board.
There was a board meeting. I'm not sure what date the board meeting was, where it was discussed, but we were informed. This was
Only
not.
informed.
We were just informed, and we were asked to endorse it.
And you were asked to endorse, but you did not ratify or adopt a resolution because the board resolution came after.
Yes, sir. That is
Yeah.
correct.
So walang authorization from the board yung IRM yung circular 0007 dated March 20. You were just informed
Yes, sir.
that they will implement.
Yes,
That's
sir.
another thing, sa implementation. We noticed na yung past issuances, Mr. President, if I may, yung date ng implementation or dissemination comes immediately after the issuance. Can you flash on the screen? Past issuances, pagka yung either on the same date or the day after, lumalabas yung dissemination or implementation. Pero in this particular case, it came a month after yung dissemination. April 22 na disseminate yung IRM, yung 0007, March 20. Now, in an effort to justify the date, in-antedate nila to March 21. But the date of the dissemination was on April 22. Kasi marami na silang releases, prior to March 31, board resolution, yung 2515, nakapag-release na yung PhilHealth ng 703 million pesos. Actually, 703,661.
Can you put your power tool down for a second, Ken?
No, kidding me.
I'm not kidding.
1,648.79. And then, prior to April 22, ang na-release, ang fund-releases na ng PhilHealth, mas malaki pa, umabot na ng 9.29 or 9.3 billion pesos. So, in effect, hindi pa na-disseminate. Ang tanong ko ngayon, Mr. President, anong guidelines meron yung mga magre-release ng pondo, yung mag-i-implement, yung regional vice presidents, kung wala pang nai-issue yung implementing guidelines or what they call SOP? Kasi nag-i-issue sila ng SOP, nandun yung parameters, nandun yung guidelines, how to disperse, how to make a list, how to, all the guidelines are there. So how could they release without implementing guidelines or what they call SOP? That's my question, Mr. President. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. President, members of the Senate. As a background, in January 2020, we were in a state of anxiety because we knew that COVID was coming. We knew how it hit the other countries. And so we were in a state of panic. So we wanted to be preemptive, to take preemptive measures, to be able to prepare our hospitals to respond to this pandemic, which we did not know at that time how soon, how hard, and how long it was going to hit us. Now, the computation of the board, of course, has to rely on management for figures because the figures lies with management. And the algorithm we adopted was to use the 90-day historical claim of the hospitals as the basis for the IRM allocation. So it is not arbitrary. And what we wanted to achieve was to prepare all the regions, the provinces, and the cities with a COVID war chest that would prepare them to respond to the pandemic. Now, in the administration of this effort, there were some, I must admit, some expedients that had to be adopted because hindi ho natin alam kung gaano katindi ang dagok nitong COVID. Nagmamadali kami makarelease ng pera. But we made sure that all the releases were covered by a contract and that we would be able to account for all the funds that were available. We were getting a lot of rescue entreaties from hospitals that they had to buy PPEs, they had to buy disinfectants, they were worried about their workforce. So yun ho yung sitwasyon early this year when all this was happening. Ang intention ho ng Philhealth ay maunahan ho yung COVID, yung tama ho ng pandemic. Yun po.
Thank you. That is a very dahil naunahan yung pitch na naging alarmado kayo. Nauna pa kayo sa DOH ng January. That's good. But may I ask Board Member Mercado and Board Member Cabadi, was that the intention in January when you passed that?
Sir, in January, as far as I recall, we were not talking about COVID yet.
O yun nga sinasabi.
With the indulgence of our colleagues, kasi pinasa natin yung Bayanihan Act to Heal Us Act 1, March 24. Naunahan pa nila tayo na magbibigay tayo ng authorization or authority to the President to realign budgets and so forth and so on. Yun, as early as January, na-foresee na nila na i-address na nila yung pandemic. Eh yung unang kaso sa Pilipinas, I remember yung Wuhan couple. I think that was March or February yata yun eh. Naunahan pa nila yung unang COVID case. In-anticipate nyo na.
I just, with the indulgence of my colleagues, just on that point that that the Senate President and Senator Lacson brought up, which I cannot let pass. As an excuse, Mr. Morales said that in mid-January, they were in a state of panic because of the COVID-19, which they said they were not sure that's why they had to build a war chest and wanted to take preemptive measures. Now, obviously, this is an excuse, Mr. President, because your Secretary of Health, who is the president or is the chairman of Philhealth, did not do anything until mid-March. He was even saying that do not panic. And yet, an agency under the Department of Health was already panicking, if we are to believe them. So obviously, Mr. President, this is an excuse which should not be allowed to stand, unchallenged. We believe that something was wrong with the IRM, And the excuses now given are nothing but excuses trying to cover up. So thank you, Mr. President. Sorry for interrupting.
All right, Attorney Kamating, you heard the statements.
Mr. Chair, good morning sa lahat. This is one of the anxieties being part of the members of the board. Yung IRM na yan, I'm so uncomfortable giving out money in advance. Like putting your foot ahead of the fire there as an accountant. And then I suspect, just like that come out in the hearing last time, that a favoritism that is actually that I heard actually being told by some employees that there are favoritism in this release of IRM. If you look at the
Teka muna, Attorney Kamating, answer the question first. We can go to that later on.
yeah,
In January, during the board meetings or the talks, as mentioned also by board member Mercado, was this the intention? Meron kayong board resolution 2496. Ang sinasabi ng presidente, yung COVID daw ito, pinaghandaan nyo na. Ang sabi ng isang board member ay hindi nyo napapag-usapan ng COVID, itong board resolution na ito. Ikaw, ano ba ang intindi mo nung pinapasa ninyo ito?
January, I
Yes.
could not subscribe with that. We don't talk about it. Kung yun ang sinasabi niya.
You did not talk about it in the board, yung COVID
Yeah,
ito.
by January, none of that sort, Mr. Chair.
Yeah. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye!